Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Friday, January 16, 2026. Half a month of the new year has passed and I'm Abdul Majid Awad.
And I'm Wed Ahmed, and for today's headlines, International Holding Company has partnered with this U.S. investment arm in this deal that they're saying is aligned with U.S. foreign policy. PwC has named Laura Hinton as the Middle East's senior partner after the Saudi ban, and HSBC and Presight have signed this strategic AI partnership. I feel like it's really been a while. Yeah. Majid was doing the show alone yesterday.
Some days, yes.
But
a lot of days
Majid?
Rich was here. It's good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Oh, leave was so good. Yeah. Oh my God. It was so, I feel like I've been invigorated. Like I'm a new person. This is crazy.
It helps your energy, I think, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
It helps. I think it helps. I have taken like 2 leaves, so recently in December I was off. So it's interesting that now the whole world is working very fast. But there's this very interesting story that's making rounds everywhere. Concerns me, that is why we're discussing it today. I live in Discovery Gardens and a lot of people, everyone has covered it actually. Gulf News, Khalij Times, The National, Love in Dubai, we also covered it. Smashi Business, we're trying to cover it from a different angle. You'll see it on our socials today. But 945 dirhams for your second parking in Discovery Gardens. A mid-tier locality. It's not Dubai Marina, it's not Business Bay. It's the exact same amount that they charge you in Business Bay. A lot of people have been complaining. I was part of one WhatsApp group, very interestingly. And
what's it called?
The WhatsApp group, Discovery Garden Community.
Oh, okay.
And it was randomly made out of nowhere just to discuss the parking problem. And yesterday, there's a Facebook group where someone added this WhatsApp group to make the discussion easier because a lot of people are not on Facebook now. Within a day, yesterday, when I joined the group, there was like 150 people. By night, it had like more than 2,000 people.
More than 2,000 people?
Yeah, within like the whole span of the day, 2,000 people joined that group.
Oh, you know they're mad.
Yeah,
you know they're mad.
A lot of people had a very genuine concern, and a lot of people were defending the move. The main problem with Discovery Gardens and a lot of places where free parking is, where we've seen like a lot of places. Recently, International City has now paid parking. Our offices outside, we saw new parking boards. Everyone is like, why is it happening? There's a very good reason behind it. And one of the most commonly discussed reasons was that the residents of different places have started complaining about the free parking. Because if you see a free parking in Dubai, a lot of people just park their extra cars there.
Yeah.
A lot of rental companies, they just go and park their cars there. So actually the residents of those societies, they don't have parking because people are using them to dump cars.
Imagine, is it a location that like around it, there's like amenities and restaurants and...
Discovery Gardens is one of the oldest communities in Dubai. It's considered one of the oldest areas. A lot of people in Discovery Garden have been living there for 10, 12 years now. It's a very famous community. There's a lot of sharing places in there, so a lot of people who come, they live here. The main point when Discovery Gardens became this famous, the rents shot up, the prices of the homes shot up, was when the metro was built in that region. So the metro ended at Jebel Ali. Now the like for Expo 2020, they started building metro from Jebel Ali, and now it goes till Expo 2020. So that extension of the metro, it goes right in front of Discovery Gardens. So metro access, the rents which were like 25 or 30,000 before Expo 2020, they're now 80,000, 90,000. 2 BHK on Wasal's website costs you 96,000, and now add 12,000, nearly 12,000 of parking space for your second car. If you have one car, you're happy.
I feel like there's multiple reasons to this.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to, you know, argue that perhaps this is because they want to maybe, I don't know, incentivize people to have less cars and use public transport or the metro, but I think that's extremely utopic of me to say. But what do you think the price increase is specifically associated with?
I saw it yesterday. So Discovery Garden is very nicely divided into Street 1 to 6, and then there's a big road in between, Al Asail Street, and then Street 7 to 13. Street 6 to 1, all these places, there was never parking. So if you want to go there, you'll never find a parking. It's very rare because always it's full. Now, yesterday, there was so many videos, and when I was crossing that place, I was like, let's take a small detour and look. Every place was empty. There was no cars. So it shows you that what Parkonic did and what all these developers, so Nakheel has 1 to 6, then Vasil manages a lot of buildings, so those are also involved. So the decision was taken to empty up the spaces that were taken by a lot of people who had just dumped their cars there. So now, yesterday, it was all empty. Everyone who lives there found a parking. So now they have to pay $945 for their monthly
So their approach
parking.
worked. I think this is good news for
A lot of people were
Parkin.
complaining about it, I think because of the rate of monthly charges. So you can save 210 dirhams, I think, if you buy a quarterly package. There is no yearly package right now on the Parkonic management system. So you just save 210 dirhams and pay for 3 months together. But that's also 22 something. So it's a big amount that you now have to pay to park in front of your house if you have 2 cars. And Discovery Gardens has bigger houses. It has 2 BHKs, 3 BHKs, 4 BHKs.
So you know
even.
that it's big families
So
and everyone's
big
driving.
But I'll give you one example of why it's not abnormal. One of my friends, he was looking for a 2 BHK when he moved here recently. I've talked about him a lot on the show. So he was working in Amazon in Saudi, moved to UAE, where I went a lot of house hopping with him. It's a business story because it's about rents and prices of the houses. He was trying to buy a house, but when he went to places like Arjan, Dubai South, these are the famous places where everyone is buying now. So Arjan has 85 to 90 rent for a 2 BHK, but you only get 1 parking. So now it's not an official rule, it's not a government policy, it's just the builders. They only build 1 parking per house if you have a 2 BHK. But if you have a 3 BHK, they'll give you 2 parkings. So it's kind of become an unofficial, unsaid rule by developers also, because they build only enough parkings.
But you know what, Majid? I think with this entire story, like looking at it from a really broad perspective, I think that it's a really good example for for people who are always arguing that that the UAE, it's so advantageous because of the fact that you don't pay taxes. And yes, that is so true. But I have said this before. Yes, we don't pay taxes like other countries in the world. But if you actually look at it
There is
over
cost
time,
involved.
there are so many expenses that you incur paying for these services. Some of these services, and I think that this new parking service, the 925 dirham per month in Discovery Gardens, it's like a prime example of that. Yes, we pay no taxes, but make no mistake, there are still expenses that you're going to incur from the services. But with Parkin, there is something that I really like. They offer a free parking permit that you basically get, I think, through their digital app. I think it's for GCC residents, and it's for Emiratis, and it's for people of determination. And so I don't think I can be complaining because my family is eligible for it. But I just think that the story, it's like a prime example of that, of like, you win, you lose some. I have so much sympathy with the people who are going to be
for the second parking.
who are going to be affected by this. I'm so sorry, but it's also kind of like, I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
Why I won't mind it, but a lot of people will mind it. Discovery Garden rents or any rents in Dubai, they're going up. It's a booming market. It's a growing market. Obviously, the rents will go up. The prices of the houses will go up. It's just that now, with so high rents, because everyone was talking about the metro access to Discovery Gardens, I think there would be a correction in rent now. Because when you were renting before in Discovery Garden or any place that now has a parking spot, International City, Production City, paid parking zones now, they were not. Now, they were not counting the parking fees into it because they were like, oh, you have free parking, park 10 cars. Now, if someone comes to me and asks me for a rent of 80K or 90K for a 2 BHK, I'll be like, no, I'm not paying that amount because there is no free parking and I need to pay a certain amount. I need to add a certain amount to my monthly or yearly budget. So if you're asking me for 85 because there was free parking, now you ask me for 70, 75 because I need to pay parking. So that way, I think rents will correct also. The landlords have to correct the rents. They can't charge you 85K for the same house with paid parking now because everyone gets only 1 free parking. If you're having a 3 BHK, which is very expensive, it goes above 100K per month. Any area you go to. I've gone to so many areas. Property Finder, go find a 3 BHK, which is 100K. I'll rent it.
But I think on a general note, especially this year with real estate, it's such a groundbreaking year. And we see it in Saudi Arabia for the first time ever. And I believe that it's officially open because we're in
New Year
now foreign investors can buy real estate property in Saudi Arabia. And I believe when when Lubna Al Ulayan was asked, like, what's the best investor a foreigner can make in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi billionaire, remember, she said that real estate. It was the first thing that she said. But just to move on to our first topic of the day, International Holding Company, the UAE's largest listed company with a market value of over 800 billion dirhams, has partnered with the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation to co-invest across sectors aligned with U.S. foreign policy priorities.
And the framework targets energy, mining, logistics, maritime operations, food security, agriculture, and technology, reflecting deepening economic cooperation between the UAE and the US across strategically sensitive industries.
Now, the DFC chief executive, Ben Black, described the partnership as a crucial step in executing President Donald Trump's foreign policy vision, adding that it deepens US-UAE bilateral ties, he told The National.
And the agreement follows Pax Silica, a coalition of trusted countries focused on strengthening AI and technology supply chains. He's a big believer in the UAE, and our whole administration really appreciates the UAE's leadership. That's what U.S. Under Secretary Jacob Helberg said.
So formed in 1999, International Holding Company is chaired by His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan and controls more than 1,400 subsidiaries spanning asset management, healthcare, real estate, financial services, and technology. By the way, the CEO of DFC, he got that meeting, that special meeting that so many people fight for to have with His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, if you know, you know. You know, this is something very rare. Not everyone gets that privilege to do so. And they had a meeting, in fact. They met up. I think that with this entire deal, it definitely is a part of that $1.4 trillion that the UAE said that they're investing in the US over the next decade. And now I think that first we saw it with Stargate UAE. The largest data center that they're building outside of the U.S., and I think that was a big part of it. But now we're seeing it in more smaller scale projects.
Yeah, and I think it's all would be a part of that $1.4 trillion of investment over the next decade, over 10 years, that His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon signed with Mr. Trump when he was in Washington last year, before Mr. Trump came to the UAE and Saudi and Qatar. So I think all these dealings, we also said this on the show, I think, that 2026 we'll see all these deals come forward as part of that larger 1.4 trillion package. So anytime you see a US-Saudi, US-UAE partnership, or even a US-Qatar partnership, just consider it that it's part of the plans that were developed in 2025. Since it's new year, we need to refer to 2025 for some time, I think, before we completely move into 2026. So yeah, this is one thing that is part of that 1.4 trillion whole deal. And as Worth said, having a face-to-face with His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon, it's a privilege in itself. We've seen so many articles and so many comment pieces and so many opinions, features being done on him in the last 2 years. It's amazing that we will keep seeing it.
Imagine, I'm manifesting that his first interview is with us.
Smashi business.
I know it might sound like far reach to some people and slightly delusional, but I don't know. I think it's going to happen. I heard from some people who are close to International Holding Company that they like Smashi business, and we're so happy to hear that. We are waiting for you guys to, hop on. Moving to our next topic today. PwC Middle East has appointed Laura Hinton as its incoming Middle East Territory Senior Partner, succeeding Hani Ashkar at the conclusion of his term in a leadership transition following an extremely challenging year for the firm in the region.
It was one of the biggest stories in 2025 for Smashi business as well. We covered it a lot. We kept following up on it. But the appointment comes after Saudi Arabia's public investment fund imposed a one-year ban on awarding new advisory contracts to PwC in February 2025. Next month, that ban ends. And that disrupted its consulting and M&A activity in one of its fastest growing markets.
I'm deeply honored to be appointed to lead PwC Middle East at such a pivotal moment for the region, Hinton said, adding that the scale of ambition across the Middle East and the commitment of PwC's teams stood out during recent visits.
And the ban followed PwC's attempt to hire NEOM's Chief Internal Audit Officer, Jason Davies. According to the Financial Times, PwC had been a key advisor on NEOM, the $500 billion Red Sea development led by the PIF.
Now, despite the setback, PwC's Middle East sales rose 26% to June 2024, contributing nearly a third of combined UK and regional revenue. Hinton thanked Ashkar for the strong foundations he's left behind as PwC looks to restore momentum. Now, I know that this overall may seem extremely positive. And it is, but if we actually get into a bit of more of the numbers regarding this entire story, due to this entire ban, which, by the way, it's ending soon.
Yeah.
It's ending soon. It's going to end in Feb. PwC actually had to cut 60 partners and 1,500 staff across the Middle East. And layoffs, they're not something to be taken lightly. I don't really wish it upon anyone, but I do want to add that their revenue growth in the region actually slowed by 0.4% and down from a 26% previously.
Yeah.
And I do also want to add that last year, PwC very quietly actually shut operations in 9 sub-Saharan African countries. And when they released a statement on it, they actually gave no reason whatsoever. I know that
it's not working. We're just leaving. It's not you. It's us.
It's so crazy, Majid, because it's like some people have argued that perhaps this is because they couldn't get their processes, their languages to translate in a different context, which I think is just not really a valid argument because Africa has evolved so much. There is so much progress. In fact, they speak way more languages, more than just English across the entire nation. So I don't think that excuse is there, but it's interesting to see what this has ballooned to, the kind of effect that it had. And I think it was a story you worked on, Majid. Didn't they get fined in Europe too?
They have a case which happened in UK. They were fined. They have a problem in China. Those are the 2 cases in 2025. Which we saw happening to them.
Oh, I saw the China one.
Yeah.
It was a 6-month ban.
So the problem is that PwC is facing a lot of problems with the big 3 or the big 4, Deloitte and all others. PwC has bore the brunt of all the problems that could happen to a consulting agency, the PPT agencies. But I think this move very important because we saw a Middle Eastern man. I don't know his nationality. I'll Google it quickly. But Hani Ashkar looks like a very Arabic. I don't know if he's Lebanese, Syrian, but he was the head of Middle East and he understood the region, spoke their language, was here for a long time. Laura Hinton, on the other hand, doesn't look like a Middle Eastern person at all.
That's a good point.
Yeah, coming at this point, appointing at such a crucial juncture where in Feb your ban is ending for consulting part, you would appoint a person who is a non-Arab and take a person who is Arab and elevate him. Obviously, you moved on to a bigger position in the global PwC environment. But still, I think a Middle Eastern person, and we always, again, 2025 was a story of this, that local appointees, local people who understand the cultural nuances, who understand how people do business in this region, you need to have that person in the region.
And
you can't appoint a foreigner and expect them to come and understand how business is done
here.
And
it's so unfortunate, Majid, because we see it happen so often. When in this region you have so many talented people who are just as educated, the Arabic language is in fact extremely difficult to learn. It's a very nuanced nuanced language. And you know what it kind of reminded me of? I know that they're not necessarily the same industry, but Lana's Newsroom, we haven't really brought it up in a while, but it was basically this new media venture, this new startup that began last year with Mohammed Al-Abbar as a major backer. And the person who they appointed to lead it does not look like a Middle Eastern person. I believe his name is Matthew Amlot.
Yeah.
And I remember I even brought this up with Rich. I'm like, I don't get this. Like, how
Why?
did they? No, and it's all Arabic. It's all Arabic. Like
Now they've started the English version.
Imagine how will he know if someone says something crazy?
Yeah.
That, by the way, that's the thing about Arabic. They can be really cheeky about things sometimes. Even if a story, like you look at it and you think, oh, like this comes out great. There could be some little cheeky comment going on there, and I see Roya News do that a lot. The way that they tell their news. Oh my God, when I read their Arabic
spice it up.
headlines, I'm like, oh, is anyone noticing this? But I just
It's their USP, Royal
Yeah.
News, how they frame it. It's like, oh, this happened, oh, that happened. Lana, very interestingly, I had a very small 3-sentence conversation with a person from their team.
Oh, wow.
From the English team. I was at the 1 Billion Summit when Mr. Al-Abbar was speaking. A lady walked in with a mic, Lana Newsroom mic, obviously. And I looked around, I was like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
Great initiative, blah, blah, blah. You work for the Arabic part. She's like, no, I work for the English part. And I was like, oh, yeah, I saw you got an English website now and English channels for Lana News. And and I saw only one story of Mr. Al-Abbar from the back, 3-second story on Instagram. That's it. We covered him more than the venture he's backing. So it was very interesting. I think I did 2 or 3 videos of him. I did a story of him saying interesting things. We covered him in carousels. So Mr. Abbar should invest in us instead of starting Lana Newsroom. Jokes aside, it's very interesting that he ventured into media when he hates marketing. He's been repeating that same line over and over at all the events in this year also.
But his appearances are marketing, so
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
he doesn't understand that his face is the marketing that his brand needs. Not everyone has that
Well,
face.
maybe I slightly understand what he means in the sense of that it's not actually like an active effort, because what I'm
His face is the marketing. He doesn't need
I
much.
think that he loves appearances,
Yeah,
Magic,
right?
because
He's been everywhere,
I
right?
find some of his interviews, and he's just like chilling in like Serbia or like
Yeah.
he's in a random European country with a random anchor who I've never heard of, and the video, by the way, it will be on YouTube and it will have like 29 views, and it's him saying, oh, you know, I'm renovating my house and I'm paying $1 billion in taxes, and I'm like, how has nobody seen this? And I just think maybe it's not a mass active effort, because what we're seeing with brands lately, oh my God, this is a mass active effort. And I think off the top of my head, like, who's been marketing heavy? Look at Huda Beauty. Her recent event in Burj Khalifa, I think it was in the Armani Hotel, the amount of budget that went into that, the branding, I mean, the floor, like, it had Huda Beauty branding, what they're cooking with, everything was pink.
Yeah.
And, you know, she flew out all of these famous influencers from the UK, from America. By the way, most of them are actually niche influencers. It's kind of like if you know, you know. And she flew them out. They're staying in Burj Al Arab. And it's like that is mass marketing. That is mass effort. I don't see Al-Abbar flying anybody out.
See,
and I don't think he needs
I'll
to.
tell you what I've observed. It's an observation.
Yeah.
Can be wrong, can be right. But Mr. Al-Abbar, his face is enough to sell a building, a whole building with 500 flats, right? Bengati has become that also. Mohammed Bengati, him showing his face is enough to sell Bengati.
I put a 15-second clip of him just saying, I'm in Germany right now. And it blew up.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And imagine same thing if you talk about Shoba Realty. Do you know who
The Shoba guy?
who are the?
I
No one
actually-
knows.
I
So
don't
Shoba
know.
actually has to market because their owners, they don't like media public appearances. They don't do a lot of interviews or speaker sessions. Something Menon, I remember the family name of the founder and the chairman. But again, you need marketing when you're not Mr. Al-Abbar. You don't need you need marketing when you're not.
I think Burj
and you
Khalifa did it for him. I think that was his
everything. Even right now, tell AI to remove Burj Khalifa from that place. You'll still see Emaar buildings, right? Every Emaar building has such
Remember that
big
audio?
Emaar branding. And that's
Emma,
marketing.
who's Emma?
Yeah.
The video
Remember?
online. You just see the name everywhere.
So he has done marketing. Obviously, now he's so big that he's right. He doesn't need marketing, but it can't be an umbrella theory for everyone. A lot of people will still need marketing. And show reality, they will need marketing. A lot of other developers, I don't think Samana developers owner goes to every place and does interview and everyone knows his name and face. We did a takeover yesterday on Smashi Business, Elevate by one. No one knows their faces. They are known in the development or real estate sector. Everyone knows them. But they are not like Mr. Al-Abbar. So they would need marketing. That is why they marketed with us. They did a whole 10-story takeover on Smashi Business. So it's understandable for Mr. Al-Abbar. Even Mr. Khalaf Al-Abtur, to be honest, the man who criticized him for saying that there shouldn't be any meeting. Another one of the big stories of 2025, when Mr. Al-Abbar for the first time said it publicly that, oh, marketing, I don't believe in it. I fired my whole marketing team. Mr. Khalaf Al-Abtur came and said, oh, you lost 1.5 billion. Maybe you should have done meetings and marketing. But Mr. Khalaf Al-Abtur, in the last year, we saw him being ultra active on all social media channels. Why? Because we know
I think the reasoning is Basma Badawi.
Yeah.
I would say that it's her. I think that she's the head of marketing for Al Habtoor.
Also,
Group.
I think Al Habtoor Group itself, the name was enough marketing.
Yeah.
They didn't need to show Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor, but now he wants his name associated.
I think it's also the word of mouth because a company that I always think about is Lush, and Lush has a no digital media policy because interestingly they say that social media affects people's mental health, and as such they would like to not exist in an environment like that, and they don't do any like marketing on your like normal channels like TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat. They just do a couple of YouTube videos and then they invite people to the store to speak to their people, and that's it. It's word of mouth.
Tell you
and
a
it's
story
people
about
talking
Lush,
about them.
what you're seeing. At 1 billion follower summit, I found this very tall guy, 6.5 feet. He was dressed so nicely, and he had a scarf in his neck, and I love scarves. I've never worn one, but I would love to. But I went to him and I was like, bro, I love your scarf. Where is it from? Or is it a brand, or is it a thing? I just wanted to know about it. And he looked at me and was like, it's from Lush. And that's not the whole point. The
that's
point
what they
is,
wrap the gifts with.
and the point is, he explained me how it was made, that it's sustainable and this and that. And I was like, this is branding. The guy could have only said, oh, it's from Lush. But he told me the whole story of the scarf, that, oh, this is plastic gotten from the sea, and it's waste that they reproduce into a form which can be worn now. And I was like, this is how you tell your story. You don't need to. The person who will buy that brand knows the story, and again, word of mouth. He told me the whole story and I looked at him like this. I was like, why would you know all of this? If I'm wearing this jacket, I would never tell the story of this jacket. But Lush, their branding is like storytelling. Oh, why did you buy this from Lush? Because it's this, sustainable, pet friendly, this, that.
I don't even just think it's that beautiful storytelling. I think it's the fact that it's actually true. You know, I think a lot of brands will try to stand for things that aren't actually true. But Mark Constantine, the CEO of Lush, the kind of company that he's built, you know that these people are ethical. We saw how for an entire day they shut down all of the Lush UK stores. They raised up banners saying "Stop Starving Gaza." They're just so clear about what they stand for, and you know what I love about it too. It's not selective. You know,
and you also shared a video of him saying, if you don't agree with it, don't buy.
Exactly. Don't come to my store. And it's not, I think with them, it's not just human rights, it's also sustainability. You know that, Majid, with the way that they carry out their processes, for people asking like why Lush is so expensive, to the very olive oil that they use in their products, like put aside the fact that it's organic, it's sustainable, they don't like ship their products over planes. It's the fact that, like, for example, if they have an olive oil vendor, it's not just them going to a supplier and saying, get us olive oil. No. Lush has built teams that actually, for example, go to Gaza, speak to the farmers, find out about their lives, and actually get the olive oil from them. So they have that direct relationship with their suppliers where they can actually also help the suppliers and pay them their dues. So it's just, honestly, it's so utopic. And that's why you don't see it so much. But just to move on to our final topic, of the day, Presight, which I would argue is almost like the Palantir of the UAE, has signed a strategic memorandum of understanding with HSBC UAE to basically collaborate on the development and the deployment of advanced artificial intelligence solutions across key areas of financial services.
And the agreement was signed during Abu Dhabi Finance Week and reflects a shared commitment to responsible innovation as both organizations seek to apply AI and big data analytics to meet the evolving needs of banks and their clients.
Now, the partnership is designed to accelerate next-generation AI capabilities that enhance risk intelligence, strengthen operational performance, and deliver deeper customer and business insights, with also supporting regulatory oversight and unlocking new opportunities for sustainable growth.
And under the MOU, priority focus areas include intelligent risk and compliance, human capital intelligence, growth and client intelligence, client acquisition, and real-time analytics for executive dashboards, aligning Presight's applied AI capabilities with HSBC's banking operations.
Now, I know that with this entire story, it's like, guys, like, why are you telling us about a memorandum of understanding? But let me tell you a story, actually. I know someone, Sudanese Majid, who had an account with HSBC,
Nice.
and they basically booked a two-way ticket. So one to Sudan and one right back to Dubai. And usually, they told me that usually when they actually book such a transaction, they don't do it with HSBC. They do it with another bank. And the one time that they did it, HSBC called them up immediately. Why are you booking a two-way ticket? Like, what's going on? Immediately, the account was shut down because they were Sudanese. So what I'm basically trying to say with this entire story is HSBC, they're extremely serious. They're extremely serious about their processes. And I think that the reason why I specifically brought it up is that there was this very recent story that was covered on Smashi Business, where basically more than 1,000 Middle Eastern clients who were basically classified as high risk were basically they were removed from HSBC. You know, they were given a specific time frame, and it basically had to do with the Swiss bank calling them out and telling them that you're not really, it wasn't that you're not catching money laundering cases, you're not putting specific processes in place to identify them.
So it's due diligence that the banks have to do if they have like millionaire accounts. They do ask for where's the money coming from, how do you make this money, what's your business, or whatever that you're doing. Sometimes banks don't do due diligence. Sometimes they do a lot of due diligence. It happens like there's like sales crunch. They want more accounts. Sometimes they miss a spot. So it's good to always come back to those accounts and be like, sorry, you're not following this process. We don't have your full document. We'll be closing your account. You can take the money and tata bye-bye. So that happened. I think that was the case because some accounts they were dubious about. They were like, thank you so much. We don't deal with dubious accounts. Yeah, we'll work with people who have like clear this paper, that paper, whatever we need. If you don't have one paper, thank you very much.
But
Bye-bye.
I actually did a bit of digging. I went into it because I know that Riyad Salama, the ex-central bank governor of Lebanon, he's extremely infamous. He was somehow involved with HSBC. And I didn't necessarily understand the case. And when I did a bit of digging on it, oh my God, this is so interesting. So basically, between 2002 and 2015, Lebanon's central bank allegedly quietly sent money out of the country, not once, not twice, but in 300 transfers.
Nice.
And the money actually went to an offshore company called Fori Associates, which held an account at HSBC Switzerland. So I think that this is kind of what was the trigger. And so Fori Associates, and I know we've discussed this before, but this is kind of in more detail, it was registered in British Virgin Islands, a classic offshore jurisdiction, and was beneficially owned by Raja Salama, who's the brother of Riyadh, until the company was dissolved in 2016. Now, on paper, Fori basically had a very specific role, Fori Associates, the company I just told you about. And in 2002, the Central Bank of Lebanon basically awarded them like a brokerage contract that basically let them sell their treasury bonds issued by the bank itself. The treasury bonds? That's crazy. And investigators now say that the role was a cover, that Fori didn't really act as a real broker, but it was actually a shell company, and it was used to move money out of Lebanon into Europe. And over those 13 years, the central bank sent about $330 million to Fori associates. If you know the case of Riyad Salama, then you know that he's actually
He just
under a
got
case.
convicted, I think, 2 or 3 days ago.
But Majid, he's under a case domestically for $44 million. But you know, when you're taking a look at more of the numbers, it's saying that $330 million were sent out of the Central Bank of
going
Lebanon.
Up, right?
It's so crazy, and basically it was allegedly used to buy luxury properties for Riyadh and his relatives, not across Europe, not even in the British Virgin Islands, but across the world. And then we see, basically, he went out on bail. How did you even have $22 million to pay for that bail? That's my first question. Number two, no, I'm serious.
Yeah,
like, how did you? And then he went on an
Corruption.
interview. He went on an interview with this Al Arabiya anchor, who's so amazing. And you know what he told him? Oh my God, Majid, like, I was looking, translating that was probably the best thing in my life. He was basically saying that, you know, how are they going to say that me, Riyad Salama, that I took the $40 million? You know, when, you know, what was happening in Lebanon throughout those years, there was like $6 billion that was being moved to Syria. And I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Wow.
You know, we're seeing how far Syria has gone right now.
Yeah.
It's to the extent that you have Qatar Istismar Holding, which is an extremely large holding company in Qatar, who's investing in the Syrian banks.
Yeah.
They would not just pay their salaries for no reason if they did not see some strong governance going on there in Ahmed al-Shara. But isn't this all? This does not make sense. It really doesn't.
With financial crimes throughout history, when you start digging, it goes so deep that there comes a point where you're like, I don't get it, what's happening. And all the names that you took, British Virgin Islands, Swiss banks, all of them are notoriously famous for tax evasions and all this hullabaloo around money moving and money laundering.
Yeah.
The whole situation in Lebanon is very serious right now. They've recently signed another IMF loan. They're going to do so many things that now IMF tells them. So it's actually very sad for me to look at Syria and Lebanon. Lebanon, no civil war, no nothing, but just corruption and so much misgovernance. And then Syria, within the last year, growing so much, becoming so much better than we all expected. To be honest, a lot of people
New
like
banknotes with berries.
yeah, so cute,
I love
right?
them.
And the main idea was that Syria won't be able to come back on its feet in a decade after like 13, 14 years of the Bashar al-Assad rule, but they are. So I don't know what is wrong with the other countries who can't follow the same script, go on a deal-making spree. Just bring your economy back on track. It's not that difficult. Syria has just shown us. Within half a year, May, Mr. Trump announced the lifting of sanctions. I think by June, officially, all the paperwork done, the sanctions were lifted. There is still military sanctions. Syria can't buy a lot of weapons from the US and Europe. But every other sanction has been lifted. So within 6 months, to be honest, they've done so much great things. Why can't other countries do it? If before they didn't have a blueprint, now they have a 6-month blueprint that it can be done. They just need political will and economic will. And with that, I think we would wrap up today's show. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Thank you for coming back. We will see more of us together again. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
Now, this has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our more than 2 million monthly listeners across all platforms. You make this possible. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. You guys have a lovely weekend.
Bye-bye.
Ooh, that was a good show.
It's